Do you remember during the election campaign that all sorts of people started to latch on to the concept of Project 2025? The documentation had been released, people had read it, and they started to realise there is a blueprint here that's being written about how Trump is going to govern. So the accusations were then placed at the doorstep of the Trump campaign. You have a plan here to absolutely gut the government and to transform the way our democracy works. This is called Project 2025, and this is clearly what you're going to implement. Now, how did Trump respond to that? He said clearly, I haven't even heard of Project 2025, it's nothing to do with me, I don't even know who's writing it, they're not people who have anything to do with me, it's nothing to do with what I'll do if I become president. Those denials were consistent and they were repeated, not just by Trump, but by every level of his campaign, by every one of his surrogates, and by every one of his campaign managers. We now know that that was a complete lie. How do we know it? Well, I'm going to talk about it after a quick word about the channel, because there's so much to say about what's actually happening in terms of materializing the blueprint written down in Project 2025. Just a quick word first about the channel. I hope you're enjoying the video. As a psychiatrist who's fascinated by the worlds of politics and economics and philosophy, I love making these videos, and if you'd like to see more of them, then please do like and subscribe and comment in this video. What you'll find is that there's a beautiful community growing up around this channel. We're all going through a national and international trauma right now because of what's happening and where our leaders are taking us. And in this channel, you'll find people honestly sharing their situation and their distress, and other people responding with kindness, empathy, and compassion. So please join this wonderful community that we're forming, join in the comments and the dialogue that's happening. Now, at the heart of Project 2025 is something called empowerment. It's the notion that a presidential administration tries to literally take the law into its own hands. So where Congress has actually initiated programs, appropriated budgets, and legislate on policies, the White House then tries to take the power into its own hands and not spend in some areas and not implement some of the programs and decide itself what materializes and what doesn't. Now, this is called empowerment. This is when the president takes power into their own hands, and instead of acting as the executive and implementing the laws that are passed by Congress and by the administration, it then decides instead to chop and change, to edit and trim, and to do things however they wish. Now, past presidents have tried this, and they have been slapped down by Supreme Courts successively whenever they've tried it.
Other presidents have refused to spend money allocated by Congress, and the Supreme Court said, no, that's not how any of this goes. In 1975, the Supreme Court told Richard Nixon that he absolutely had to spend money allocated by Congress under the Federal Water Pollution Control Act, even if he super-duper didn't want to, which he didn't. In 1998, the court invalidated the Line Item Veto Act, which would have allowed President Clinton to cross out parts of the budget that he didn't like. But the mastermind of Project 2025 is a guy named Russ Vought, and his big idea is that maybe SCOTUS was kidding. Maybe the Constitution says that the president really can refuse to spend money allocated by Congress, and so Trump should put political appointees in charge of the Office of Management and Budget.
So at the heart of Project 2025 was another go at empowerment, was trying their best to find ways to actually gut the government from within by using a power that wasn't supposed to be there. And now that's exactly what they're doing. This is what Russ Vought, that guy who's been given this powerful position in the White House, has started to do, withholding funding from areas that Congress has already legislated to approve, abolishing programs that Congress a long time ago established and have been running as per the law. And the consequences for programs and for people and for life on the ground in the real world have been huge, just as Project 2025 wanted.
The agency wasn't spending any money on condoms for Gaza, but it was spending money to contain an Ebola outbreak in Uganda, and now it's not. It's not spending money to contain HIV and AIDS. It's not vaccinating kids for polio. It's not spending $290 million to prevent severe acute malnutrition, which will result in 369,000 extra child deaths a year, because the Project 2025 guys think spending a nickel a serving on peanut butter and powdered milk to feed a starving child is bad value for American taxpayers. Secretary of State Marco Rubio canceled 83% of USAID contracts and fired all but a handful of its 10,000-person staff.
Now, of course, to most of us, this represents a moral disgrace, allowing children to die of AIDS, allowing people to become impoverished again where they previously weren't. But these are just a few of the areas where Trump has been starving and strangling the federal government, whether it's shutting down or restricting Planned Parenthood, or shutting down, as he plans to do, the Department of Education, and the support, for example, to children with special needs who rely on it around the country. They're using the powers that were hypothesized in Project 2025 to implement the whole of this agenda. Even NOAA, even disaster relief, core government functions are being hollowed out, just in the way that Project 2025 wanted. So by blasting through existing norms and conventions, by having a whole think tank, the Heritage Foundation, working for years between Trump's two administrations, by thinking things through in the way that they did before Trump arrived in office, a whole cadre of people beneath and around Trump have now been consistently working to undo so much good that the American government does. Project 2025 is now flourishing fully in every respect. Even the people who wrote it are wielding powers and controlling the levers of government. What nobody can say is that they weren't warned about the consequences of this government before it came into office. I hope you liked the video. I hope you also can join me with more of my content that I'm aiming to make over the coming months and years. You see, this time around, what we're experiencing in this administration is a global trauma, and the people going through it have been asking, how can we support ourselves? How can we learn and grow and share together through this process? So I've started to write a series of ebooks. That's, together with my whole team, once a month we're going to produce an ebook to help us understand better the psychology of the people around us and the systems we're in, as well as our own psychology too, to help us navigate this increasingly confusing and disorientating world we find ourselves in. You'll be able to find those books on russellsbooks.com. That's russellsbooks.com. As soon as you go there, you'll be able to see the growing catalogue of books and hopefully buy any of them at any point. In addition, I hope you can subscribe to my e-newsletter. See, there's a link in the description of this video and also the description of the channel. And if you go there, you'll be able to fill out a form. Once you've completed the form, you'll then be able to get subscribed to my e-newsletter. And that way you can always be kept up to date about the content I'm producing. You see, the fact is that this platform, as well as all platforms, are owned by a very small number of oligarchs. And at any point, they might decide to shut down a channel like this. And if they do that, then, well, it's going to be hard for us to keep connecting. So if you sign up for my e-newsletter, that way you'll be able to make sure that you'll be informed about my content wherever it's delivered and wherever it lands. Finally, I hope you might also consider becoming a member of the channel. If you do, you'll get these ebooks for free every month. So all the ebooks I produce go free to my members who join the channel every month. Also, you can get priority response to comments, and there's also a members-only chat page for higher-level members that we engage in regularly to sort of learn, share, and support one another. As I say, this is a difficult time, it's a traumatic time in history, so many of us need support from each other. I'm hoping each of these things can help all of us create a better tomorrow together. Thank you.